Ambassador Sarah Chen stood at the center of the Grand Council chamber. Above her, the massive dome showed the stars of 1,000 worlds. Around her, seated in rings that rose higher and higher, were the representatives of 200 alien species. They all looked down at her. Sarah had practiced her speech for months. She had memorized every word, every pause, every gesture. Today was supposed to be historic. Today, humanity would finally be accepted as a full member of the Galactic Council. Honored council members, Sarah began, her voice steady and clear. 50 years ago, Earth joined this council as a probationary member. We were new to the stars. We were inexperienced. We accepted your guidance. She activated the holographic display. Images appeared in the air around her. Human colonies on distant worlds. Hospitals where human doctors worked alongside alien patients. Trade ships carrying goods between the stars. In these 50 years, humanity has proven itself, Sarah continued. We have settled 12 star systems peacefully. We have shared our medical advances freely. We have contributed to galactic trade and prosperity. We have followed every treaty, every rule, every restriction placed upon us. Sound interrupted her. It was laughter. Sarah paused and looked up. The source was Council Leader Vershok. He was a massive being, his body made of living crystal that glowed with inner light. His species, the Kreshtel, had been spacefaring for 10,000 years. Forgive me, human, Vershok said, though his tone suggested he was not sorry at all. Please continue. Tell us more about your ... achievements. The way he said the last word made it sound like a joke. More laughter rippled through the chamber. Sarah felt her face grow warm, but she continued. We have developed new propulsion systems that improve fuel efficiency by 40%. We have created propulsion systems. Vershok interrupted again. You mean you have made your primitive engines slightly less primitive? How impressive. The chamber erupted in laughter. Sarah saw alien faces of every shape and color, all united in their amusement at humanity's expense. Ambassador Trellix of the Vorn Collective spoke next. His species looked like giant mantises, with multiple arms and gleaming black eyes. Tell me, human, did your species only recently discover fire? Or was that last year? More laughter. Even louder this time, Sarah gripped the podium harder. Her knuckles turned white. We understand that we are young compared to most species here, but youth does not mean we have nothing to offer. Our scientists have made breakthroughs in scientists. A serpentine creature from the upper rings hissed with amusement. The apes have scientists now. How delightful. The mockery continued. For every achievement Sarah mentioned, the council found a way to belittle it. Her medical advances were called basic first aid. Her colonies were tiny outposts. Her trade contributions were barely worth mentioning. Through it all, Sarah stood firm. She finished her presentation. She made her formal request for full council membership. When she was done, Vershok stood. His crystal body cast rainbow reflections across the chamber. The council will now vote on Earth's petition for full membership status. The vote was quick. 200 species, 200 votes. The result appeared in glowing numbers above the chamber. 0 votes in favor, 200 votes against. But Vershok was not finished. Furthermore, he announced, the council has decided that humanity requires additional ... guidance. Effective immediately. Human ships are banned from settling in the Outer Rim sectors. Trade tariffs on human goods will increase by 30%. And humans will be restricted from accessing certain star charts and navigational data. Sarah felt like she had been struck. They had not just rejected humanity. They had punished it for daring to ask for equality. Does the human ambassador have anything to say? Vershok asked. He was smiling. A cruel, satisfied smile. Sarah looked around the chamber one last time. She saw the alien faces. Some were still laughing. Some looked bored. None looked sympathetic. These beings saw humanity as a joke, as children playing at being adults, as primitives who should be grateful for whatever scraps the council threw their way. I have nothing more to say to this council, Sarah said quietly. Thank you for your time. She walked out of the chamber. Her back was straight. Her head was high. But inside, she was burning with anger and humiliation. Hours later, Sarah sat alone in her quarters on the orbital station. Through the window, she could see Earth, her home world, a blue and green jewel hanging in the darkness. She thought about all the humans down there. 4 billion people who had hoped today would be different, who had believed that respect could be earned through good behavior and hard work. They had been wrong. The Council did not respect good behavior. They respected power, and they believed humanity had none. Sarah pulled out her encrypted communicator. It was a special device, one that very few people knew existed. She typed a single short message. They laughed. Execute Protocol Midnight. She hit send. Far across human space, on Mars and Europa and Titan, on colony worlds and space stations and hidden military bases, people received her message. They had been waiting for it. Some had waited for years, some for decades. They had hoped this day would never come. But they had prepared for it anyway, because humans had learned something important in their 50 years among the stars. They had learned that sometimes rules were made not to keep order, but to keep others down. And they had learned that sometimes the only way to earn respect was to take it. The countdown began. 12 hours until midnight. Hash. The Council mocked Earth, so humanity broke every galactic treaty in one night. Hash hash. Part 2. 12 hours to midnight, the message reached. Mars' first Captain Marcus Kim was in his office when his secure terminal beeped. He read the 5 words on the screen, then immediately stood and walked to the window. Below him, the red surface of Mars stretched to the horizon, and hidden beneath that surface was Project Speedwell. Marcus pressed his communicator. All department heads to the command center. Now, authorization code, midnight. Within minutes, his team assembled. They had trained for this moment, but none of them had truly believed it would come. It's happening, Marcus said simply. We launch in 12 hours. A young engineer named Park Ji-woo spoke up, her voice nervous. Sir, are we sure about this? The Velocity Treaties specifically forbid the Velocity Treaties, Marcus interrupted. Were designed to keep human ships slow. To make sure we could never reach the outer rim before the Council noticed. To keep us trapped in our little corner of space. He smiled grimly. In 12 hours, we're going to show them what human engines can really do. He activated the main display. It showed a schematic of a ship engine, but this was unlike any engine the Galactic Council had ever seen. For 30 years, Marcus explained, we've been telling the Council that we're working on modest improvements to our FTL drives. We've shown them incremental progress. 5% better, 10% better. They nodded and patted us on the head like good children. He zoomed in on the engine's core. What we didn't tell them is that we solved the quantum tunnel problem 8 years ago. Our ships don't need to follow the velocity limits. We never did. We just chose to obey them. Park's eyes went wide. How fast can we go? 300% faster than treaty limits, Marcus said. We can cross the galaxy in hours instead of weeks. And tonight, every council member is going to wake up to find human ships in their space. On Europa, one of Jupiter's moons, Dr. Yuki Tanaka received the same message. She stood in the control room of the quantum communications array, surrounded by equipment that officially did not exist. Begin final system checks, she ordered her team. We go live at midnight. Her assistant, a man named Chen Wei, looked worried. Dr. Tanaka, the Information Speed Treaty clearly states that no species can develop faster than light communication. The Council said it creates an unfair advantage. Yuki laughed bitterly. The Council said it creates an unfair advantage for anyone who isn't them. Did you know the Kristall have had quantum communication for 2,000 years? They just made sure no one else could develop it. She gestured to the array. When this activates, every human ship, every colony, every outpost will be in instant communication. Real-time coordination across light years? The Council thought we were decades away from this technology. She smiled. We've had it operational for 5 years. In the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, mining operations were suddenly very busy. Giant ships that looked like ordinary cargo haulers began to transform. Panels slid open, revealing weapons systems. Armor plating extended. Engines that had been hidden inside activated. Commander Sarah. O'Neill watched from the bridge of what the Council thought was a mining vessel called the Peaceful Prosperity. Its real name was the UHS Defiance, and it was a warship. The Council's treaty on military buildup, she said to her crew, limits us to 50 armed vessels. They inspect our shipyards regularly to make sure we comply. She grinned. What they don't know is that we have 300 warships. We just disguised them as cargo ships, mining vessels, and colony transports. Her tactical officers spoke up. Ma'am, are we really going to war? No, Sarah said firmly. We're not going to fire a single shot unless they fire first. But we are going to show them that if they want a war, they'll lose. Badly. On Earth, in a secure bunker beneath Geneva, the Defense Council was meeting. President Alina Williams stood at the head of the table, surrounded by military leaders and advisors. General Rodriguez pulled up a star map. This is our current position in the galaxy. The Council has restricted us to this region. Small area lit up in blue. These are the sectors they've banned us from. Huge swaths of the map turned red. And these are the resources and territory they've kept for themselves. The rest of the map glowed gold. In 12 hours, the general continued, we're going to violate 23 separate treaties simultaneously. We're going to exceed velocity limits, breach communication restrictions, enter forbidden sectors, begin unauthorized terraforming, extract resources from protected zones, and reveal our military capabilities. An advisor leaned forward. Madam President, this could start a war. Are we prepared for that? Elena looked at each person around the table. For 50 years, we've followed their rules. We've accepted their restrictions. We've let them treat us like children. And where has it gotten us? Today they rejected us again and added even more restrictions. She stood taller. The Council respects strength. They respect power. Tonight, we show them that humanity is not weak. We never were. We just let them believe it. But what if they attack? The advisor pressed. Then we defend ourselves, Alina said coldly. But I don't think they will. Bullies like the Council only pick on those they think are helpless. Once we show them our teeth, they'll back down. They'll have to negotiate with us as equals. General Rodriguez nodded. All forces are in position, Madam President. We're ready for protocol midnight. Then we wait, Alina said. In 12 hours, the galaxy changes forever. Across human space, the countdown continued. On Mars, engineers made final checks on the Speedwell engines. On Europa, the quantum array hummed with building energy. In the asteroid belt, warships prepared to drop their disguises. On colony worlds, terraforming equipment waited to activate in forbidden zones. Millions of humans knew that something big was coming. But only a few hundred knew exactly what. They had spent 30 years preparing for this night. Building in secret, developing technology in hidden labs, creating backup plans and contingencies. All while smiling and nodding at Council inspections. All while pretending to be primitive and grateful. The Council had thought human patience was weakness. They were about to learn it was strategy. 6 hours until midnight. Then 5. Then, for Sarah Chen, still on the orbital station, watched Earth turn slowly below her. She thought about what was coming. There would be consequences. The Council would be furious. Some species might see this as an act of war, but humanity had made its choice long ago. They would not spend another 50 years begging for respect. They would not accept being treated as lesser beings. They would not live in chains, even comfortable ones, at midnight. Those chains would break, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Council mocked Earth. So humanity broke every galactic treaty in one night. Part 3. The breaking at exactly midnight. Earth Standard Time, humanity acted. On Mars. Captain Marcus Kim gave the order. Engage Speedwell drives. All ships launch. 20 ships rose from hidden launch bays beneath the Martian surface. Their engines glowed not with the usual blue of standard FTL drives, but with a brilliant white light. They accelerated. Faster. The Council's instruments would show them breaking the velocity treaties within seconds. The ships didn't care. They were already gone. Marcus watched his navigation display with satisfaction. The journey to the Outer Rim sectors would normally take 3 weeks. His display showed an arrival time of 4 hours. "Sir," his pilot said with awe in her voice, "we're moving at 3 times the treaty limit. The Council is going to know immediately." "Good," Marcus said. "I want them to know. I want them to see that we can be anywhere, anytime, and there's nothing they can do to stop us." On Europa, Dr. Yuki Tanaka pressed the activation button. The quantum communications array came online. Instantly, every human ship and colony in the galaxy connected to a single network. Messages that should have taken days to travel now arrived in milliseconds. "Array operating at full capacity," Chenwei reported. "We have real-time communication across 47 star systems." Yuki opened a channel. "This is Europa Station to all human assets. The network is live. You are go for Protocol Midnight? Execute your assignments." Across the galaxy, humans responded instantly. On colony worlds, massive terraforming machines activated. These were worlds and sectors the Council had declared protected zones where no settlement was allowed. But human colonists had been there for years, hiding their true numbers. Pretending to be small research outposts, now the truth revealed itself. On the world called Nova Terra, in a sector the Council had banned humans from entering. Administrator Chen Ling watched as atmospheric processors came online. Giant machines that had been disguised as research equipment began pumping oxygen into the thin atmosphere. Underground, massive biodomes opened, revealing cities with millions of people. "Broadcasting our presence now," her communications officer said. "Let the Council try to stop us." In the asteroid belt, Commander Sarah O'Neill gave her orders. "All ships, drop the disguises. Show them what we really are." 300 ships transformed. Mining vessels became battleships. Cargo haulers revealed weapons. Colony transports showed their true military design. Within minutes, what the Council thought was a small, harmless human mining operation became a full battle fleet. "Set course for the Council homeworlds," Sarah ordered. "Not to attack, just to visit. I think it's time we paid our respects in person." The fleet moved out. Destination: the heart of Galactic Council, space. But the most shocking moment came when human ships appeared in orbit around the Council homeworlds themselves. Not just in neutral space. Not just in human territory. But right there, above the planets where the Council members lived, on Kreshtal Prime. Homeworld of Council leader Vershak's species, alarms began screaming. Defense satellites detected ships appearing from FTL. This should have been impossible. The Council controlled all approach routes. They had early warning systems light years out, but somehow human ships had bypassed everything. They had appeared in high orbit without warning. Admiral Kreshver, commander of the Kreshtal Defense Fleet, stared at his displays in disbelief. How did they get past our sensors? How did they move so fast? "Sir," his tactical officer said, his voice shaking, "they didn't breach our defenses. They're just better than we thought. Their ships are faster than anything we have. Their stealth is better. Their technology is... Is what?" Kresher demanded. "Superior, sir. Their technology is superior to ours." Similar scenes played out on 24 other worlds. The Vorn Collective homeworld, the Trellic colonies, the Yargash systems. Everywhere, Council species woke to find human ships in their space. The ships did nothing aggressive. They simply sat there. A silent message: "We can be here. We can reach you." Remember that. The Galactic Council called an emergency session within an hour. Council members appeared via hologram, many of them clearly woken from sleep. Vershak's crystalline body was glowing bright red with anger. "This is an act of war," he roared. "The humans have violated 23 treaties. They have entered forbidden space. They have exceeded velocity limits. They have built unauthorized weapons." They have a new hologram appeared in the center of the chamber. It was Ambassador Sarah Chen. She looked calm and professional, as if she had not just helped orchestrate the largest treaty violation in galactic history. "Good evening, Council Leader," she said pleasantly. "Or good morning. I apologize. I know the timing must be inconvenient for many of you." "You." Vershak pointed at her with a crystalline limb. "You have committed an act of war against the entire Galactic Council. Do you understand what you have done?" "I understand perfectly," Sarah said. "We have stopped following your rules. Rules that were designed not to keep peace, but to keep humanity weak. Those treaties protect the stability of the galaxy." Another council member shouted. "Those treaties," Sarah corrected, "protect your power. The velocity limits don't make space safer. They just make sure no young species can expand fast enough to challenge you. The communication restrictions don't prevent wars. They prevent coordination. The military limits don't keep peace. They keep others defenseless." Vershak's glow intensified. "We will destroy you for this." You will do nothing," Sarah interrupted. Her voice was sharp now, cutting. "Because you can't. Right now, human ships are orbiting 24 Council homeworlds. We're not threatening anyone. We're not firing weapons. We're just visiting. But we could have done more. We could have been there weeks ago, months ago. We could have struck before you even knew we were coming." The chamber fell silent. "For 30 years, Sarah continued, you thought you were watching us. You thought you knew our capabilities. You thought we were primitive, struggling, barely managing to keep up with your advanced civilizations." She smiled coldly. "We let you think that. We showed you what you expected to see. Slow progress. Simple technology. Grateful cooperation." She leaned forward. "The truth. We've had faster-than-light communication for 5 years. We've had advanced FTL drives for 8 years. We've had military ships for a decade. We've been colonizing forbidden sectors for 15 years. We've been studying your technology, your tactics, your weaknesses for 30 years. Impossible," someone whispered. "No," Sarah said. "Just improbable. But humans are very good at achieving the improbable. It's kind of our thing." Ambassador Trellix of the Vorn Collective spoke up. "Why? Why deceive us for so long?" "Because we needed time," Sarah explained. "Time to build. Time to spread out. Time to become strong enough that you couldn't simply crush us when we finally said no. We knew that one day we would have to stand up to the Council. Today was that day." "This is madness," Vershak said. "You cannot simply ignore galactic law." "We're not ignoring it," Sarah replied. "We're rejecting it. There's a difference. And here's what happens next. You're going to give humanity full council membership with equal voting rights. You're going to remove all discriminatory treaties. You're going to treat us as equals. And if we refuse?" Vershak challenged. Sarah's expression didn't change. "Then we continue operating independently. We'll terraform whatever worlds we want. We'll settle wherever we choose. We'll trade with whoever wants to trade with us. And when other species ask us how we became so advanced so quickly, we'll tell them the truth. And we'll offer to help them do the same." The threat was clear. If the Council didn't accept humanity, humanity would become the center of a rival power. One that might be more attractive to species tired of Council restrictions. The emergency session continued for hours, but everyone in that chamber knew the truth. The galaxy had changed. Humanity had changed it, and there was no going back. The Council mocked Earth. So humanity broke every galactic treaty in one night. Part 4. The Council's response. The Galactic Council chamber was in chaos. For 3 hours, Council members had been arguing. Some wanted war. Others wanted negotiation. A few wanted to pretend nothing had happened. Council Leader Vershak was still glowing red with fury. "We cannot allow this challenge to stand. If we do not punish humanity, every species in the galaxy will think they can ignore our authority." "And how exactly do you propose we punish them?" Ambassador Sorel asked. She was from the Cathari, a bird-like species known for their careful thinking. "Their ships are faster than ours. Their communication is instant. They have weapons we didn't know existed. And they're currently orbiting our homeworlds." "We have numbers," Vershak insisted. We have 200 species in this council. Humanity is alone. Are they? Shral tilted her head, a gesture of doubt among her people. Before this session ends, I suggest we all review the message traffic from the past 3 hours. She activated a display. It showed communication logs. Dozens of minor species, ones with little power in the council, had been sending messages to human colonies. The messages were all similar. Tell us how you did this. Teach us. Help us. Ambassador Trellix clicked his mandibles nervously. This is worse than we thought. Humanity isn't just challenging us. They're offering an alternative. The Council had ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years. They had done it by keeping other species weak. Slow ships meant no one could expand quickly. Limited communication meant no one could coordinate. Military restrictions meant no one could fight back. It was a system designed to keep the powerful powerful and the weak weak. Humanity had just broken that system. Over the next few hours, intelligence reports came in. Each one was more shocking than the last. The first report detailed human FTL technology. It wasn't just faster than Council technology. It was based on completely different principles. Humans had solved problems the Council had considered impossible. The second report covered the quantum communication network. The Council's own scientists had declared instant communication across light years to be theoretically impossible. Humanity had made it work anyway. The third report was about human military capabilities. The 300 warships were just the beginning. Hidden shipyards, secret weapons, advanced AI systems, orbital defense platforms disguised as satellites. Everything hidden in plain sight. They've been studying us, Ambassador Grelinak of the Yargash Dominion said slowly. Every trade mission, every cultural exchange, every diplomatic meeting. They were gathering intelligence. Ishral nodded. And we let them. We thought they were primitive. We thought we had nothing to fear. We were fools. A junior council member, representing a small aquatic species, spoke up hesitantly. Perhaps we should consider their offer. Full membership. Equal rights. It might be better than the alternative. Better than war, you mean? Vershek growled. Better than irrelevance, Shral corrected. Look at the pattern. Humanity didn't attack us. They could have. Their ships were in position. They had the element of surprise. But they chose to demonstrate capability instead of using it. That tells us something important. That they're weak. Vershak asked hopefully. That they're smart, Shral said. They want to join the system, not destroy it. They want respect, not conquest. If we're wise, we'll give them what they want, reward their treaty violations. Vershak was still angry, but his glow was fading from red to orange. He was starting to think instead of just reacting. We reward their restraint, Shral explained. They broke our treaties, yes, but they didn't break the peace. No one died. No shots were fired. They made their point without violence. That's actually impressive. She pulled up another display. Let me show you something. 30 years ago, do you remember the scale incident? The room went quiet. Everyone remembered. The Shkal had been a young species, much like humanity. They had questioned Council authority. They had asked for changes to the treaties. The Council's response had been swift and brutal. Economic sanctions. Military blockade. Within a year, the shell had surrendered completely. They never questioned the Council again. The Shkal were weak, Shral continued. So we crushed them. It was easy. It was simple. And it sent a message to every other species. Don't challenge us. She looked directly at Vershak. But humans aren't weak. If we try to crush them, we might succeed. We probably would if all 200 species united against them. But it would cost us. It would cost us ships, lives, resources, and at the end, even if we won, the galaxy would know that we can be challenged, that we can be hurt, that we're not invincible. What are you suggesting? Vershak asked. I'm suggesting we do something we rarely do, Shral said. I'm suggesting we adapt. Humanity has changed the game. We can either accept the new rules or waste our strength trying to enforce old ones that clearly don't work anymore. Ambassador Trellix added his support. The humans have already won, in a sense. Even if we defeat them militarily, their technology is out there. Other species have seen what's possible. They've seen that the Council's treaties can be broken. They've seen that young species can be powerful. He gestured to the message logs still displayed. Look at how many species are contacting humanity. If we fight the humans, some of those species will support them. If we win, we'll have to deal with a dozen new rebellions. If we lose, he trailed off. No one wanted to think about that. So we surrender. Vershak asked bitterly. We just give them what they want? We negotiate, Shrall corrected. We recognize reality. Humanity is powerful. They've earned a seat at the table. If we're smart, we'll give it to them gracefully and make them our partners. If we're foolish, we'll fight them and make them our enemies. The debate continued, but the outcome was becoming clear. Slowly, council members began to shift their positions. The Hawks who wanted war found fewer and fewer allies. The moderates gained support. By the 8th hour of the emergency session, Vershak could see which way things were going. He had been council leader for 40 years. He had maintained power by being ruthless, but he had also maintained it by knowing when to compromise. Very well, he said finally. We will open negotiations with humanity. But I have conditions. I want guarantees. I want treaties that bind them as much as us. And I want no, a voice interrupted. Ambassador Sarah Chen's hologram was still there, watching. She had been silent for hours, letting the council argue among themselves. No conditions, Sarah said firmly. No new treaties designed to limit us. We've seen how that works. You agree to full membership with equal rights, and you remove all discriminatory restrictions. Or we walk away and build our own alliance. You're in no position to make demands. Vershak snapped. Actually, Sarah said calmly, we're in the only position that matters. We have strength. We have options. And we have patience. We can wait for you to make the right decision. The question is, can you afford to wait? She was right, and everyone knew it. Every hour the council delayed was another hour for more species to contact humanity. Another hour for the council's weakness to be exposed. Another hour for the old order to crumble. Vershak looked around the chamber. He saw the faces of 200 species. Many were watching him, waiting for his decision. He had been their leader for decades. But leadership meant knowing when to fight and when to bend. The council will vote, he announced. Not on whether to punish humanity, but on whether to accept them as full members with equal rights. Prepare your votes. We decide this now. The chamber fell silent. This was the moment. The galaxy was about to change forever. The council mocked Earth so human. ID broke every galactic treaty in one night. Part 5. The new order 1 week had passed since Protocol Midnight. The Galactic Council was meeting again, but everything was different now. Council leader Vershak was gone. The other Creshtal leaders had removed him from power. They blamed him for mishandling the human situation, for letting it get so bad that humanity felt the need to act. In truth, the failure had been building for 50 years. But leaders always needed someone to blame. The new council leader was Ambassador Essatril of the Cathari. She was the first non-Creshtal to lead the council in 1,000 years. That alone showed how much had changed. This emergency session is now in order, Shrall announced. Her voice was calm but carried authority. We are here to vote on the petition of humanity for full council membership with equal rights and privileges. Ambassador Sarah Chen sat in the chamber this time, not as a hologram but in person. She sat in the guest section, the place reserved for probationary members. But everyone knew that would change soon. Before we vote, Shrall continued, I want to address what happened 1 week ago. Humanity violated 23 treaties simultaneously. They exceeded velocity limits. They breached communication restrictions. They entered forbidden space. They revealed unauthorized military capabilities. She paused, looking around the chamber. And they did it all without firing a single shot. Without killing a single being, without destroying a single ship, They demonstrated their power, but they did not abuse it. That matters. Ambassador Trellix spoke next. The question before us is simple. Do we continue to treat humanity as children who must be controlled? Or do we recognize them as equals who have earned their place? They broke our laws. Someone shouted from the upper rings. It was Ambassador Grolonic, still angry about human ships appearing in his space. They broke laws designed to keep them weak, Trellix replied. Let me ask you this, Grolonic. If your species had been restricted the way humanity was, would you have accepted it? Or would you have found a way to break free? Grelinock fell silent. Everyone knew the answer. Shrell called for the vote. All in favor of granting Earth's full council membership with equal rights and removal of all discriminatory treaties, indicate now. The numbers appeared. It wasn't unanimous. 40 species voted against, still angry about humanity's actions or afraid of what it meant for the future. But 160 species voted in favor. Humanity had won. The motion passes, Shrall announced. Effective immediately, Earth is a full member of the Galactic Council, with all rights and privileges. Ambassador Chen, please come forward. Sarah walked from the guest section to the main floor. A new seat materialized for her, right in the first ring where the senior members sat. She sat down, and for the first time in 50 years, she looked at the other council members as an equal. Thank you, council leader, Sarah said. Humanity is honored to join you as full partners in galactic governance. But Sorel wasn't finished. However, we must address the elephant in the room, as humans say. The treaties humanity broke were designed to maintain order in the galaxy. If we simply remove them with no replacement, chaos could follow. We agree, Sarah said, surprising many in the chamber. We're not advocating for lawlessness. We're advocating for fairness. The old treaties applied different rules to different species. New treaties should apply the same rules to everyone, including humanity. Over the next hours, they negotiated. The velocity limits were removed for everyone, not just humans. The communication restrictions were lifted across the board. The military limits were reworked to focus on preventing aggression rather than limiting capability. Most importantly, the Council agreed to open the forbidden sectors for settlement by any species, not just the established powers. It was a revolutionary change, but the biggest moment came when Sarah made an unexpected announcement. Humanity would like to propose the formation of the Alliance of Independent Systems, she said. This would be a coalition within the Council for species who want more autonomy and fewer restrictions. We've already been contacted by 37 species interested in joining. The chamber erupted in shocked voices. An alliance within the Council? That had never been done before. This alliance would not oppose the Council, Sarah explained quickly. It would work within it. But it would give smaller species more collective voice, more bargaining power, more ability to shape galactic policy. Thrall considered this carefully. You're creating a voting bloc. That will shift the balance of power significantly. Yes, Sarah agreed. But isn't that fair? For too long, the same handful of species has controlled everything. This gives others a chance to be heard. After more debate, the Council approved the alliance. Within days, 42 species had joined, with more expressing interest. Humanity wasn't just changing its own position in the galaxy. It was changing the structure of power itself, 2 weeks after Protocol Midnight. Sarah stood in her office on the Council orbital station. Through the window, she watched ships coming and going. Human ships now, traveling freely through space that had been forbidden to them for decades. Ambassador Trellix came to visit her. I wanted to thank you, he said. Sarah was surprised. Thank me? For what? For showing us another way? Trellix explained. My species has been in the Council for 3,000 years. We never questioned how things worked. We accepted that some species led and others followed. You made us think differently. We didn't have much choice, Sarah admitted. Change or stay in chains. But you chose to change the system rather than just escape it, Trellix said. You could have simply ignored the Council, built your own empire. Instead, you're trying to reform things from inside. That's admirable. After he left, Sarah pulled up her personal files. She found a recording from 50 years ago when humanity first joined the council. She watched Ambassador Park Ji-sung, the first human council representative, giving a hopeful speech about partnership and cooperation. They had been so naive then. They had believed that good behavior would earn respect, that following the rules would lead to acceptance. But they had learned. Respect wasn't given freely. It was earned through demonstrated strength. And sometimes, the only way to earn it was to break the rules that were designed to keep you down, Sarah. Thought about how close they had come to war. If Vershak had been more stubborn, if the council had been more united, things could have gone very differently. But humanity had calculated the risk correctly. They had shown strength without aggression. They had broken treaties without breaking the peace. It was a gamble that had paid off. Her communicator beeped. It was President Williams calling from Earth. "How does it feel?" the president asked. "Being an equal instead of a supplicant?" Sarah smiled. "It feels right. It feels like how things always should have been." "Any regrets about Protocol Midnight?" Sarah thought about it. "No. We did what we had to do. And we did it the human way. We planned carefully. We prepared thoroughly. We took a risk, but it was a calculated risk. And when the moment came, we acted decisively." "The council is still afraid of us, Williams said. "Good," Sarah replied. "A little fear breeds respect. As long as we don't abuse it, that fear will keep them from trying to restrict us again." They talked for a while longer, discussing the future. There was still much work to do. Treaties to finalize. Alliances to build. The new order had to be solidified before old powers tried to undermine it. But for now, they could take a moment to appreciate what they had achieved. On Earth, children were already learning about the night we broke free. It was being taught in schools, discussed in homes, celebrated in the streets, but the lessons being taught were important ones. The story wasn't about violence or aggression. It was about preparation and patience. It was about knowing when to follow rules and when to break them. It was about standing up for yourself while still trying to work within the system. Most importantly, it was about respect. Real respect couldn't be demanded or begged for. It had to be earned through demonstrated capability and strength of character. The galaxy had mocked Earth. They had treated humanity as a joke, as primitives, as children playing at being adults. They had imposed restrictions and limitations. They had laughed at human ambitions. And in one night, humanity had shown them the truth. Humans weren't primitive. They weren't weak. They weren't helpless. They were patient. They were clever. They were determined. And when pushed far enough, they would push back. The council would never make the mistake of underestimating humanity again. Sarah Chen stood at her window, watching the stars. Somewhere out there, human ships were exploring new worlds. Human colonies were growing. Human scientists were making discoveries. Human diplomats were forming alliances. The galaxy was open to them now. Not because someone gave them permission, but because they had taken their place by force of will and strength of character. They had earned their respect, and they would never give it back. Far across the galaxy, on a small colony world, a young human girl asked her teacher a question. "Teacher, why did the council try to keep us weak?" The teacher smiled. "Because they were afraid. Not of what we were, but of what we could become." "And what did we become?" "Strong," the teacher said simply. "We became strong enough that they had to treat us as equals. That's what happens when you